So this is the Tonga Environment Data Portal. I'm currently logged in as SPREP, and you can see here the front page, landing page for the Tonga Environment Data Portal. The first thing to note is that you can search data on this data portal using the 7 thematic areas from the State of Environment Report format. Here they're called topics. We have atmosphere and climate, land, biodiversity, built environment, coastal and marine, culture and heritage, and inland waters. Most information that Tonga will want to share and upload will fit into these 7 categories. And climate change might go into atmosphere and climate, whereas invasive species may go into biodiversity, and waste would go into built environment. However, if there's a need to add additional topics or thematic areas, that's completely possible. In the case of Republic of Marshall Islands, where they had a legacy of nuclear testing, they might have a nuclear topic or thematic area to discuss that environmental impact and state. In addition to organizing information by topic, you can also organize it by groups. Right now you only see one group here. It's the Environment Department of Tonga. That can be changed to encompass the entire ministry, or we can add additional ones like fisheries, forestry, agriculture, public works. Really any group in government that you want to let use this portal to share and host information, particularly if you'd find it valuable for environmental reporting, we can create a group and usernames for those people. Now, the important thing to note about groups is that if you upload a data set and set the license level, of which there are 4, to private, that means only individuals logged in and a member of that group can see that data set and download it and use it. That means that if you want to share information within your group of Department of Environment Tonga and not let outsiders outside the department see that data set, you can set it to private and it would be only available to those people. It's important to note the metadata, the information about the data, that is the title, who uploaded it, etc., will be publicly available for all data sets on this portal. But you have the option of setting information to private, interagency, which means that anyone with a login in government can see it, so you can share it across government but not with the public. Or you can set it to share and share alike with attribution, which means anyone can access the data however they have to attribute the author when they use it. Or just public, which means anyone can access the information and use it as they wish without attribution. Now we'll just take a look here at the data sets themselves. You can see that there's topics that you can select from. Tags are keywords that are entered in when the data set's created, and you can type in tags to help find the data set again, make it easier to be searched. So you might tag a coral reef data set with the name Tonga, because it's relevant for the country of Tonga, or biodiversity, or corals, or geomorphic. Once you type in a tag, that tag will become part of a library of keywords, and it'll pop up as you start typing the first few letters of the word to ensure that we build up the number of data sets under that particular tag for ease of location in the future. In addition, you can search by different formats. Right now we have 4 different formats: GeoJSON, which is a spatial data format, PDF, PNG, which is an image format, and a zip file, which currently contains a shape file, which is made up of 6 different files for ArcGIS. Important thing to note about formats is you can upload any data format you want. There's no restriction. The data portal has been created to be easy to use and intuitive, and encouraging data sharing of any type. So if you have a CVS file or a Word document or an Excel file, all of those can be uploaded. You can also search by publisher or by license level. And I'll just take you inside of a data set. Data sets can have multiple file types. So you notice up in this data set up here, there's 3 different resources, 3 different files under that data set. These 3 are different representations of coral reef spatial information for Tonga. This one only has one resource under the data set, and that will be the 4th National Report to the Convention on Biodiversity. Now this information here represents the metadata. The initial publisher of the information was the Department of Environment Tonga. The home page, this is where I grabbed the report from on the SPREP Pain website. I set it to Creative Commons and share alike because this is a public report, anyone can access it. And we put in a mic.gov.to web email address for people who are seeking more information. There's also a spatial reference. Basically, it's a box around the country of Tonga, saying that's the spatial geographic area that the data is valid for. So if I click on the actual resource itself, we type in some additional data for that resource, identify it as the 4th report to the Convention on Biodiversity, and a bit of metadata. This is text right out of the report so that the potential user knows what it is. And then down below you can see that the PDF is slowly downloading, and once it downloads you can read it here online, or you can click the download button, download to your computer and store it as you wish and use it as you wish. Let's go back a step. Same information here for the GIS information. It has the pedigree. This information came from IMARS and the IRD Center in Umea. Sir John DeFoy wrote it a couple of years ago, I think a decade ago now. And you can visualize the information, or you can just download it and use it locally on your computer. A couple important things to keep in mind about the data portal. Adding a data set is really about a 2 or 3 minute process. You type in the name of the data set and a couple of key attributes about it, and then you drag and drop the data set, and it becomes is automatically online. So the information that you need to add for adding a data set includes a title, which will create a URL which you can share with anyone. You just cut and paste that in an email. You can make some notes about the data, some caveats if you're concerned about the data quality. This is where you type in tags. You might type in Tonga, and it just pops right up and you click on that. You have to assign it a group. You can assign a topic, so it might go into biodiversity, for example. And then this is where you select a license level. And this is probably the most important thing to select if you don't want to share your information with everyone, or you do. You can select private for just people in your group, interagency for all of government, public domain for everyone and no attribution necessary, and Creative Commons attribution share alike for sharing with everybody but with attribution. And the next step is just to drag and drop the data set in, and you have uploaded a data set. For the single admin user, and it's important there's just one person in Tonga assigning permissions to upload information, because this is one of our quality control validation points. Creating a user is as easy as typing in an email address and a username and a password. It's important, though, that we designate someone who is able to assign passwords to people within the environment sector and outside if you decide you want to share this with other ministries and groups, so that we get more users uploading more data, so having access to the information that you need to do your reporting and planning becomes easier. So it is important that we designate one person to be the admin. That can be anyone you choose, and then they can assign as many users as is necessary and required to get access to upload information into this data portal. I'm just going to go back a step and log out. You see, now that I'm logged out, the information below the Vivau Mangrove Survey has disappeared because it's been set to interagency. And only people who are logged in can see the data set. But note, I, as the public, as a general person browsing the internet, can still see that it exists. And I can still see a contact email if I go into the data set and look under metadata, should I have entered it. So with that, you have a nice 10-minute overview of the Tonga Environment Data Portal. It will become more and more useful with more and more data in it. And I'd like to take a second to put in a plug for open data. If you have information that can be shared with the public, it'll create less of a burden on you and your ministry and provide greater value to the data if it's shared with the public. It means that you don't have to field requests for people trying to access it, and people might be able to use the data for alternative purposes, which can benefit everyone. So if you can make data publicly available, that should be the default. If you have any concerns about data quality or security, set it to private. And if anything is very secret, this data portal is not the right place for it. So we'll be working with the focal point to assign passwords to people so you can try out the Tonga Environment Data Portal. And we look forward to supporting you using this more in the future.